Welcome to video number 2. The last one I thought went well, so I thought I would do a second one. The first video, which hopefully you've already watched, what I did is I talked about taking a trig function, y equals sine theta, which has a graph that looks like that. Maximum 1, minimum -1, and doing a couple transformations, y equals a sine theta plus k. And what we got then is we got some vertical transformation k. And we went to a maximum of up a and to a minimum of down a. That's an arrow. And my graph then went all the way up to the maximum, all the way down to the minimum, and then back again. And watch the first video if that's a little unclear. But what I want to talk about today is H and B, the frequency. So let's very quickly start with H. I got y equals 3 sine theta minus 2. This was the equation that we graphed on the for the first video. And what we saw on that video was that because I had transformed this down 2, my center of my circle was going to be at -2. And because I have an amplitude of 3, I was going to go up 3 to the maximum, which put me at 1. I was going to go down 3 to the minimum, which put me at -5. Starting at 0, which has been transformed down 2, and going up to the maximum, back to 0, down to the minimum, back to 0, and then off around my second circle. Again, notice that this was 3, and this was 3. Well, let's plug in an H value. Let's plug in a horizontal shift. So I'm going to write a new equation, y equals 3 times the sine of theta minus 1. It doesn't really matter. It could be in terms of pi. It could be just, some number. It doesn't really matter. So what I'm going to do is, having already shifted the whole thing down 2 and stretched it by 3, all I'm going to do is shift it now 1 to the right. So there's my -2 midline. There's my maximum at +1. There's my minimum at -5. But instead of starting here, I'm going to just shove the whole thing to the right by 1. Now, every point on this original graph, here, 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 and here, gets shoved right by 1. So, wherever I was here, I go to the right by 1. I don't have a scale on this, so this doesn't really help us. But, and here we go. Are we still recording? Shoot. Something else jumped up and popped up. Nope, we're still recording. Sorry about that. So my graph now goes up to the maximum, down to 0, down to the minimum, back up to 0, and then keeps going. And if I was looking at this, I know that this is at 0, now that's at 1. Let's say this was at 10. Well, now this is going to be at 11. And if this was at 20, because we have some kind of symmetry here, we know that, then this is going to be at 21. It doesn't really matter. Everything is moved 1 to the right. Notice that my starting point has become 1, negative 2. And my HK value has given me my starting point. Back here, 0, 0. So I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to upload this as a quick description of H. I'm going to do a third video of B rather than complicate the issue.